This is the fantasy the criminal North Korean regime puts forward to the world. It's a fairy tale based on images of unity, prosperity, and strength. It is one giant lie. This is the real North Korea. A real world based on poverty, starvation, and enslavement. Once in a while, a scrap of uncensored, unscripted video footage escapes from that imprisoned nation. What they show is a glimpse into hell.
Prisoner is tied to a pole. Inside North Korea, a man is putting up a poster. It says, "Bring down Kim Jong-il. He has killed everyone who stood for democracy. Why should we starve and die in poverty? People rise up and fight for freedom." This is the first time anyone in North Korea has filmed his own act of defiance and smuggled the pictures out. He then runs for his life and is now hiding somewhere in Southeast Asia. The defector will not tell me his name, so I'll call him Mr. Park. He says he was a loyal subject, but all that changed when his father and mother died of starvation during the famine in the 90s.
I was a very faithful soldier, but after I was discharged, I saw people starving to death. There were so many people dying that the authorities were scared people might revolt. So they publicly executed many innocent people as a warning. I went to watch whenever there was a public execution. I found it heartbreaking. This is how I came to have second thoughts about Kim Jong-il's regime. One day, I met with somebody who runs this anti-government underground organization called Freedom Youth League. One of their strategies was to distribute imported videotapes. These were ordinary movies that showed North Koreans how prosperous people in the outside world are, and hopefully make them question whether their leadership is telling them the truth.
For 5 years, Mr. Park distributed tens of thousands of videos throughout North Korea before progressing to make his own. From a hotel room on the other side of Bangkok, Mr. Park is going to talk us through the video he filmed, which made him a wanted criminal in the eyes of North Korean officials.
This is the center of Haeryong City. That's the station, and that's the road to the market. This is a very busy street. I filmed this with a Chinese digital camera. We were being very cautious because it would mean death if we were discovered. We carried knives, and one person was on the lookout. Another was pasting a poster on the bridge. The bridge was about 4 meters high, so I stood on the shoulders of my comrade and filmed from there.
Even mentioning Kim Jong-il's name in less than flattering terms will lead to imprisonment. Videotaping political graffiti is punishable by death. But inside a disused building, he put up a defaced photograph of Kim Jong-il.
This is the portrait of Kim Jong-il. The words on his portrait read, "Kim Jong-il, who are you? You are a tyrant. People will not forgive you and will bring you down from power. We want freedom and democracy. Open policy is the only way for us to survive."
This videotape was smuggled out of the country and posted on the internet. The North Koreans' hunt for the dissident began.
I got home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and found somebody waiting for me. He identified himself by secret code and then told me, "Don't ask any questions, just run away, get away." I wanted to grab a picture of my family, but then I realized that their fate and also that of the underground movement would be jeopardized if I was caught. So I just ran. I got to the river that was frozen. Crossing dressed in civilian clothes was completely unthinkable, but thankfully, my organization had arranged for someone to meet me, with a military uniform, a cap and boots, and even a rifle. This person then guided me across, showing me where the ice was too thin. When I got to the other side, I handed the uniform to my guide and watched him walk back to North Korea.
Inside North Korea, there's growing evidence that other undercover cameramen are working to expose the hidden face of the secret state. Like this notorious political prison camp, the North Korean authorities denied existed. In North Korea, a man defaced a photograph of Kim Jong-il, videoed it, and smuggled. Only the well-off can afford it, leaving the rest with nothing. This woman lying in the street is dead. It is a common sight. The man who secretly filmed these pictures says he'll meet me if he can cross the treacherous border between North Korea and China. He's bringing brand new pictures out. I've come to the border in China. Over there is North Korea. And that's the Tumen River across which those fleeing Kim Jong-il's regime will make their dash for freedom. On that side of the river, North Korean border guards have a shoot-to-kill policy. Somewhere over there, the undercover cameraman I've arranged to meet, we'll call him Mr. Kim, hides and waits for the chance to cross the river. While I wait, I'm going to meet another smuggler. This one trades in soap operas. We're going to meet with a smuggler who's coming across the river today. I'm taking this home-brewed green alcohol to give to her to bribe the border guards. I think she's worked out a deal with the border guard on the north side to pay them a certain amount of money and things like alcohol and maybe cigarettes. The woman wades the river into China to get goods to sell back in North Korea. She smuggled a lot of different things, including South Korean dramas, videos. Of course, it's illegal. Some smugglers have been known to be executed. My guide tells me it's too dangerous for me to go to the river to meet the smuggler woman. Our contact will go alone. But the smuggler never turns up. We fear she may have been caught. But as we drive away, the soap opera smuggler phones from North Korea.
저도 애 낳고 오늘도 우리 이 더운 날에 힘들었습니다. 꼭 만나야 할 부위에 대해서 꼭 만나자고 한 건데.
대한민국에도 또 나가보고 나도 괜히 거기 나가서 있고 야 사람 만나니까 어찌 그리 애가니까.
야 정말.
내 시간 어떻게 정해 생각해?
Incredibly, she offers to meet us again the next day.
우리 집안 그 길에 있으니까.
7 years ago, I met Min-ho and Hyung-dong when they came to China in search of food. They survived by begging on the streets. They took their earnings back to North Korea to feed their starving families.
여기가 어디야 지금? 조선. 조선 보니까 어때? 조선. 좋아? 왜? 내 나라에 그냥. 근데 여기서 더 잘 먹는데 거기가 더 좋아? 왜? 그래도 조선.
We traveled along the Tumen River to prepare them for their return home.
왜 오늘 갈라 그랬어?
예? 오늘 추석이라서.
추석이 왜 중요한데?
추석 날에는 심하지 않다만.
They waited until dark to float past the border guards on rubber rings back to North Korea. They carried their precious earnings inside them, carefully wrapped in plastic inside chewing gum, which they swallowed. That was the last time I saw them. I know Min-ho is still living somewhere inside. I asked the man to smuggle a phone into North Korea in hope that I can talk to Min-ho if he's found.
그리고 만약에 이러기를 찾는다고.
How long do you think it'll take before you find him?
언제쯤 다시.
Well, I can start looking for him from tomorrow, and of course it will be good if I can find him quickly. But since I don't have his exact address, it's going to be a difficult task.
I don't know his exact address or his father's name, but I do have a photograph of him.
How long ago was this photo taken?
I believe it was taken a few years ago.
I'm not trying to boast, but there are a lot of North Korean men who make money out of conning people in this business. They convince people to hand over the cash, and then they disappear. So whenever possible, I do this myself without resorting to contacts.
After midnight, I give him 2 cartons of cigarettes to bribe the border guards. He returns to the river and wades through the darkness back to North Korea. Most North Korean refugees in China are reluctant to talk to outsiders. But the next morning, I hear of a newly arrived refugee living in hiding and willing to share her story.
애가 많이 아파요?
Is your son sick?
Yes.
Did he catch a cold?
Yes.
애가 지금 몇
How old
살이에요?
is your son?
3 years old.
같이 어떻게
How did you
먹었어요?
cross the border?
I carried him on my back with the help of the soldiers.
Did the border guards help you?
도와줬어요?
Yes, they sleep at my house, which is right next to the river, when they're on duty.
왜 나왔어요?
Why did you leave?
그때 뭐 남편이 죽으니까
After my husband died, living was hard. I had a huge debt, and I thought maybe I could make some money in China.
지하니까 뭐 비트 먹는 지하
But now I am here. It isn't going very well.
그럴 수 있겠다.
Her escape from North Korea was driven by watching smuggled South Korean soap operas.
We carry the tapes in a rice sack, just in case there are street inspections by security guards. The South Korean videos are really good fun. But we must watch secretly, with the lights out, and the curtains drawn. Securities got really heavy in the last 2 years. Now if you are caught watching foreign movies, you are sent for re-education. The security police inspect during the day, so you have to watch at night. But sometimes they come around and cut the electricity to your house, and you cannot get the videos out of the machine. They are stuck. The police then inspect your house and catch you. Lots of people are caught that way and are sent to prison.
But everyone watches them, right?
Yes, people like them.
Have people's views of South Korea changed?
Yes. Watching movies really opens your eyes. Until we watched South Korean films, we thought there were many beggars in the outside world. But in reality, we are the beggars. We are taught that South Koreans' kids are always starving. Wow, it's just not true.
South Korean soap operas are fueling subtle changes in North Korea. People are beginning to question the official line from Kim Jong-il that North Korea is paradise.
There are many people with complaints over there now. So many.
How do people express their dissatisfaction?
There was a banner that was put up under a bridge, and that caused a lot of problems.
I realize she's talking about the poster put up and filmed under a bridge in Hwaryong. Tell me about it. What did you hear?
There is a bridge on the way to the Hwaryong factory. Somebody put a banner up saying, "Bring down Kim Jong-il." But you'd never be able to catch them. They must have put it up at the crack of dawn.
Did everyone in Hwaryong see?
Yes, the security guys came, but it was too late. The person had already taken off. Security has been really tight since then. 80 families were expelled as a result of that banner. People were crying all over the region. They were put on a train and sent to an island.
The North Korean Secret Service is still looking for the person responsible. What do people say about the guy who wrote it?
They say it was a good job.
Did he become a hero after condemning Kim Jong-il?
How can he be a hero when we don't know who he is? If he gets caught, he's going to be shot.
I'm sitting on a hill in China, looking into one of the border towns in North Korea. I'm waiting for Mr. Kim, who promised to meet me and bring out new pictures. I can hear the loudspeakers pumping out propaganda. Mr. Kim finally arrives.
It's been an incredibly tense time. How can I say this? There would have been no way if my work was discovered. They would have put me out of existence.
This is uncensored North Korea, in its harsh, bleak, unadulterated form.
Using a camera is the most serious form of treason in North Korea. My wife came with me on the journey, and she kept telling me not to do it, that we should just get on with our lives.
Fuel shortages means the trains don't often run. The wait outside the station can be long.
I was petrified, but totally determined. The punishment they inflict on political offenders in North Korea is extremely severe. The system is such that they don't just punish the offender himself, his family and relatives are also punished. I placed my camera inside the bag and made a hole on the side to secretly film. But the thing is, light was being reflected on the camera lens, so I had to be very, very careful.
No one is allowed to travel from one town to another without a permit.
둘이 다 나갔죠? 나갔지 빨리. 빨리 나갔지 빨리. 둘이 다 나갔죠 그러니까. 우리가 좀 뺐습니다. 나가요. 나가요 빨리. 다음 예산나 그러니까.
I was on a train and started secretly filming the guards checking passengers' travel certificates. I looked back and there were these people watching what I was doing. I couldn't stop filming right then because it would look more suspicious.
An official resorts to threats and violence and failure to produce travel documents. As the train comes to a halt, adults and children scrabble in the dirt for fertilizer falling from a wagon to sell. Life is becoming desperate once again, but North Korea has just announced that aid agencies must leave.
During the Great Famine, we didn't have anything to eat. We were simply starving. Food was so scarce that there wasn't even enough greenery for a single person to eat. We survived on water. It is why I went to China to get some help. And it's from there that I realized how different the world outside was.
'Mr. Kim chooses to go back across the river to carry on his secret filming, to expose to the world the bleak realities of North Korea. For me, it's becoming dangerous to stay here in China for much longer. I'm beginning to attract attention and may inadvertently lead the authorities to my contacts. But I wait for news of Min-ho from North Korea. I've not heard anything since the man left over a week ago. Seven years ago, I met Min-ho. He was begging on the streets of China for money to feed his family back in North Korea. He would deliver the precious earnings hidden inside his body. A week ago, I asked a man to smuggle a mobile phone into North Korea and find Min-ho. The man finally calls. He has located Min-ho. Speaking to anyone in North Korea on a mobile phone is extraordinary. Unthinkable just a few years ago.
북조선에서 전화 받는 게. 네, 저도 말씀 들었어요. 그 선생님한테 아주 수고를 너무 많이 하셨다고.
Suddenly, the phone goes dead. Both the man and Min-ho risk serious punishment if caught talking to anyone from the outside world.
여보세요? 예, 전화가 좀 끊어졌었네요. 아, 예, 조심. 민호니? 아이고, 반갑다. 아이고, 이게 얼마만이야? 그래, 하여튼 너 뭐 먹고 살아요, 요새? 배급 나와? 밀가루도 줘? 이거라고 강냉이도 주고 쌀도 줘? 야, 이제 북조선하고 한국하고 전화 연락도 되고, 야, 참 희한하다. 너 지금 할 게 있는데 잘 못하고 있어? 그래. 그러면 딴 방식으로 전화를 한 번 더 해야 되겠네?
I later learned that the secret police grabbed Min-ho and questioned him for 3 days before releasing him. The man had his phone confiscated and was fined. Then, I get news the videotape smuggler who failed to cross the river is on her way again. She says she'll bribe the border guards and wade through the water to China. Once again, I'm told it's too dangerous for me to go to the edge of the river. The contact disappears to meet her. I wait for him, but he never returns. After 6 hours, I get the news. Both the contact and the woman have been arrested by Chinese border guards. So now we're driving to the police station with as much money as we could gather at short notice in the hope of getting them out.
The woman was waiting at the opposite bank with the North Korean border guard.
So you had prearranged the time and place to meet her?
She waved at me and signaled for me to go down to the riverside. I went 100 meters or so down to the water, where it was shallow.
It's hours later. We're feeding the contact after a day in police cells. We paid a bribe to get him out, but the North Korean soap opera smuggler has been sent to a prison and we can't get near her.
The woman crossed the river with the North Korean border guard. He handed her over to me, and I gave him 2 packets of cigarettes, some DVDs, and 200 won.
Just yards from safety, Chinese border guards swooped on the pair and arrested them.
They asked me how she came across the river to China. So I told them that I was there just to exchange greeting with her, and that she's my distant relative. They didn't believe me, and asked me whether I bought her from the North Korean security guard to sell her on to someone else, or to take her on as a wife. But I kept saying that she's my relative.
She's now behind this wall, inside a Chinese prison. Did they beat the detainees over there?
Yes, I think so. The prison system in North Korea is completely different. They kick you in the face. They beat women just like they would a man, with their fist or weapons specially made for beatings, or even a hammer.
So the best thing is to get her out of there as soon as possible.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Kim, the undercover cameraman, captured these pictures of those who fled North Korea only to be returned by the Chinese police. This is a likely fate awaiting the smuggler. I heard since that she managed to bribe her way out of the prison in North Korea. I've had a few strange phone calls while I was here. The phone would ring, and when I answer, there would be nobody on the other side. Considering that there are Chinese police in every hotel, it made me a little bit nervous. I'm about to leave for the airport. Back in Thailand, the man who publicly called for Kim Jong-il's downfall and risked the wrath of the North Korean secret police is still in hiding. Tim Peters, the Christian activist, is driving Mr. Park to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees in the hope that he'll be given emergency status and protection.
Lord, as we approach the UNHCR building, we ask for your supernatural protection over Mr. Park and over all the activists. Lord, you know better than we the possible danger of North Korean secret agents or secret police that would love nothing better than to try to intercept and to muzzle Mr. Park. We ask, Lord, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Mr. Park is told by the UNHCR that it will only give him refugee status if the American embassy in Bangkok agrees to take him. But the American embassy will only take him if he has the official refugee status from the UNHCR. It's left to the underground Christian network to protect him.
He's a stateless person, and essentially he is a lawbreaker in Thailand or any other country that he stands. He's an illegal immigrant, and this is very, very problematic. He's, in some respects, a sitting duck for any special squads that would be sent to try to silence him.
The more I stay here, the more I realize that no real help is being provided for the North Korean defectors by the UNHCR. If the US won't take me, I'll have to go to South Korea. But there are many North Korean spies there, and I face being assassinated or being abducted and sent back to the north. My organization is like a bomb under Kim Jong-il's bed, and he'll want to wipe us out.
He's stuck in Bangkok, stateless, penniless, and without his family. He's heard that his wife and child are safe for the time being inside North Korea, but realizes he probably will never see them again.
When I crossed the border, I found myself in a snow-covered field. I looked back at North Korea and thought about my fatherland and my family and the life I had lived. And I stood there and wept.
Kim Jong-il is desperate to keep his people isolated from the outside world. It's the only way he can survive. But the walls are beginning to crumble.
Het is voor ons een heel armoedig land. Maar in tegenstelling tot ons denk ik dat de armoede meer eerlijker verdeeld is dan in onze samenleving. Iedereen is arm. En
zelfs de elite in Pyongyang.
Ja.
Despite missile launches, underground nuclear tests, and bellicose language, tourists can still visit North Korea. I also went there as a tourist, because journalists are barred from entering the country. Tourists cannot move around freely. We travel across the country in our own bus. We stay in beautiful hotels, far from North Koreans. Nevertheless, tourists can see a lot, even if we don't always know what we're seeing.
Het kantoor van ons is er vlakbij.
Yap Timmer worked for the Red Cross for 3.5 years in North Korea. He looked at the footage I took. The metro in the capital, Pyongyang, is one of the highlights of a trip to the workers' paradise. It's the means of transport for workers. It's beautifully decorated, but according to Timmer, the metro is not as great as tourists are led to believe.
Hij rijdt nog, dat is al heel, dat is heel bijzonder. Ze weten ook als er buitenlanders zijn, zullen ze altijd voor zorgen dat er in ieder geval nog elektriciteit is. Maar hij staat wel stil, dat hoor ik van de stad wel. Mijn secretaresse die kon met de metro. En als ze dus met de metro ging, ging het ietsje sneller. Maar ze gaven toch de voorkeur aan om te gaan lopen over het algemeen. Alleen als het regende, dan wilden ze wel een stuk met de metro gaan. Maar voor de rest zei ze, ja, dan ben ik in ieder geval zeker, dan weet ik wanneer ik thuis kom.
Pyongyang is the city of the elite, but even here people experience energy shortages.
Flats zitten de liften werken niet. Dus mensen die bovenin wonen zijn jonger dan de mensen. Als je ouder wordt mag je naar beneden verhuizen. En flats zijn koud. Ik heb wel eens staf gehad die, als het een koude nacht was geweest, dus volgende morgen bij mij op kantoor kwamen, bij de kachel gingen zitten. Ze zei, ik heb vannacht niet geslapen en ik moet me even opwarmen.
En dan zit je in Pyongyang en weet je, dit is het beste van
Dat
het
is het beste wat het beste is.
Tourist buses leave the city on empty highways and head out to the countryside. The land is quite barren at the beginning of spring. This is the most fertile area in the nation, the delta southwest of Pyongyang. All the land is farmed by hand.
De landbouwresultaten zijn naar beneden gegaan, vergeleken bij 10 jaar terug. Ik zag de laatste jaren, dat als ik het veld in ging, dat je dus minder tractoren en meer ossenkarren, ploegen met ossen. Er is heel veel verlies door inefficiënte oogstmethodes, transport. En dat verhoogt de druk op het voedsel. Er is heel veel discussie geweest over honger. Ik heb dat niet gezien. Ik heb wel gezien dat er ondervoeding is. Of het verkeerde eten. Nogal wat mensen met maagklachten. Maar de mensen waren in staat en waren bereid om met weinig eten te leven. De bereidheid om, zeg maar, om achter hun leider te staan en, zeg maar, voor hun doelstellingen te streven, vond ik opmerkelijk groot. En ik vond er een echtheid in zitten. Ik heb niet het gevoel dat het opgelegd was. Het is meer een sociaal gevoel van hier staan we met z'n allen voor.
Along the way we see a youth brigade marching. But not everyone is joining in the workers' paradise.
Ik heb er een paar gezien die beelden. En dat in bepaalde gevallen werd het wel toegestaan en in andere gevallen werd het kind gewoon weggejaagd toen ik dat wilde geven. Ik denk dat het gewoon niet anders is dan elke andere samenleving. Alleen men wil het niet graag laten zien. Eenheid is de kern van de samenleving van de Koreanen. Dus met z'n allen één zijn, met één gedachte, één leider die hen aangeeft wat ze moeten doen en dan doen ze dat ook. Met onze water- en sanitatieprojecten. En daar moesten soms kilometers pijp gelegd worden en die moesten ingegraven worden in de grond. En dan werden 2000 mensen gemobiliseerd en die groeven dat met de hand. En dan kun je zeggen, is dat nou vrijwilligerswerk? Wat voor soort werk is dat nou? Maar mensen waren daar, die deden dat graag, want 3 weken later hadden ze water. En die zagen gewoon resultaat van zo'n gemeenschappelijke inspanning. Direct. En waarschijnlijk ook niet het alternatief kennis. Men mist de aansluiting met wat er in de wereld gebeurt. Geen internetaansluiting, geen nieuwe studieboeken. Ja, dan denk je dat het verschil wordt te groot. Ja, en hier gaan we de brug over naar Dandong, China. Ja, het is inderdaad de brug met de verlichting. Als je dan naar Korea kijkt, de schaarse lampjes. dan zie je het grote verschil.
The next day, the video camera watches again. This is the Yuson district, a coal mining town about 10 kilometers west of central Haeryong, where yesterday's execution took place. We're near the Yuson station. The loudspeaker van which called people to today's trial has arrived with music. Today, 2 defendants will be judged, 1 man and 1 woman. Even as the verdicts are being read, an execution post is put into place. The condemned person will be tied to it. Before being shot, the man is hidden from the audience by a large cloth. Behind this makeshift curtain, he is blindfolded, and stones are stuffed into his mouth. This prevents him shouting out criticism of the regime. At 11:05 a.m., 3 riflemen step forward. One of the officers tries to push the body into a bag. He seems to be having difficulty getting it in. He kicks the body into the bag.